4 deaths and 51 serious injuries in the past 40 years have raised the question if orca whales should be in captivity anymore. After the most recent death in SeaWorld, Orlando, Florida, in February 2010, more people have been thinking that it is a threat to not only the trainers' lives, but the killer whales also. SeaWorld, Marineland, and Six Flags have got the most grief over their captivity of their mammals. After the accident at SeaWorld, it has caused all the theme parks and aquariums to take another look at what is causing their animals to behave like this. They have found that there are many factors to the killer whale incidents, such as proper living space, separation anxiety, boredom, and unsuitable living environments. Many people think that these theme parks and aquariums should continue work for reasons such as education, research, endangered species, and the economy. In the economy way it is, they provide many jobs to the public. To all the stories you're about to hear, people debating could make valuable points on either way on who is to blame. After the most recent event that is the major contribution to the debate is the killer whale Tilikum. Tilikum is one of the largest killer whales in captivity and is in Orlando, Florida at SeaWorld. February 24th, 2010, Tilikum was participating in the behind-the-scenes show at SeaWorld called Dine with Shamu. This is a fully catered dinner and show at the behind the main pool where shows are performed. Dine with Shamu is for park goers to sit right up next to the trainer's platform, watch the killer whales do their tricks, and pet the animals. During the show on February 24th, Tilikum and his trainer were on the trainer's platform showing the interactions between the whales and their trainers. Tilikum's trainer laid down on her back next to the whale when Tilikum grabbed her ponytail and slashed her around underwater. Tilikum's trainer did not survive the encounter with the killer whale. SeaWorlds all around the world closed down immediately after the accident. SeaWorld trainers stated that they had noticed signs of aggressive behaviors in the show before Dine with Shamu. Other officials at the theme park stated that when they trained the whale trainer, she was told not to lay next to Tilikum and believed that the killer whale mistook her ponytail for a new toy. July 5th, 1999, after the park was closed, a man snuck into the Shamu pen after hiding out for trainers to leave. The man either jumped into the pool or fell in. When the trainers came back to Tilikum's pool in the morning, they found the man bruised, scratched, and laying on Tilikum's body. The 50-year-old boy was identified as a man who was having a history of mental illness. SeaWorld officials believe that the killer whale is territorial and did not know the person and mistook him for a treat or a toy. On February 20th, 1991, trainer Kelty Brine fell into the whale's pool. After falling into the pool, 2 killer whales dragged her to the middle of the pool, where then Tilikum and the 2 other killer whales repeatedly submerged her until she died. As you can see why this one killer whale has raised such an issue of whether or not the mammals should be in captivity. The aggression that has been taken out on the trainers is thought to be the reason for inaccurate living spaces and environments, separation anxiety, and boredom. Theme parks are blamed because of the aggression of the animals by not providing the animal with the proper amount of living space. They have killer whales in a small concrete pool. These whales are used to swimming for thousands of miles in the open ocean. When the theme parks and aquariums are in look of a new killer whale, they are usually taken from their parents. This type of anxiety is usually described as the same that humans go through when a human child has been taken from their mother or father. These animals swim in close groups called pods, and when one goes missing, it causes stress on the pod and the lost killer whale. The killer whale at the one such as SeaWorld, when he was rescued as a baby whale from the ocean and they tried to keep it in their facilities. The killer whale refused to eat, and because it got so depressed, it would continuously hit itself up against the side of its tank. The reason for their boredom is because because they wade in pools all day and they can either float or swim in circles. Then they are expected to put on a show and then put back into their separate pools, causing anger and aggression to build up and only being taken out on their trainers. Theme parks and aquariums are not easy to get rid of as people thought. There are multiple factors that need to be kept around. Some of the advantages that theme parks and aquariums have is that all theme parks' main goal is to educate the public about marine life. They believe that educating the public about them and some of their animals such as killer whales and sharks help them lose their stigma. Theme parks are also trying to educate public on how valuable their ecosystems are and tell the public on how to preserve them. By showing these animals, they would think that the general public would be more likely to help preserve the ocean. Research is done with animals such to gain understanding of what they need to do and survive and how to protect them. Such as endangered species often are in zoos, aquariums, and theme parks to help them reproduce and increase their species amount again. If there were no theme parks or aquariums, they would not be able to do research on animals such as whales and other marine life. When you go out into the wild and you can shoot a tiger with a dart, you can take the blood and release a tiger while not having to take it into captivity. The opposite is for the whale. Whenever you hit the whale with the dart gun, the whale will drown. There's no other possible way to do research on them other than putting them in captivity. These theme parks and aquariums can each employ about 10,000 people apiece. During a time like this with the recession and many people out of jobs, these positions are employing thousands of people nationally and internationally. Either way you look at the debate, there is one thing that each side can agree on. There's something wrong and something needs to be changed for the sake of these animals. Too many of these animals are dying in captivity, killing or injuring their trainers. Is there any questions?
What happened to Telecom?
Telecom, he was finally released from his separate pool, and he's in the shows again, but he is not allowed. No, the trainers are not allowed to be in the water when he's in the water, or with any other killer whale.